This video focuses on finding solutions to equations. Specifically, we'll be looking at equations with two variables. First, a solution is values that we can put in place of variables, such as x and y, that would make the equation true. So in this simple equation, x plus 5 equals 7, the solution is x equals 2, because if we plug 2 into this equation, the statement would be true. In 8th grade, we're going to spend a lot of time on equations with two variables. Most of these equations are going to have lots of solutions. An example is the equation 6x plus 3 times y equals 15. For this equation, each value that we pick for x, like 1 or 2, is going to have some value for y that works as a solution pair in this equation. Tables allow us to organize a bunch of different solutions to an equation, and graphs then allow us to make a visual representation of all the possible solutions to an equation. Let's look at how we could complete a table for this equation by finding solutions. Sometimes we're going to be asked to complete a partially filled in table where they've already picked some values for x and y, and they want you to find the appropriate value to make a solution. In this case, substitution will allow us to pick the values for x that are in the table and plug those values into the equation. Then, after substituting, we're going to use inverse operations, or the reverse operations, to solve for the missing variable, or to get the y all by itself. For the first row in this table, they want us to figure out the value for y when x is equal to 0. So we would take this equation, 6x plus 3y equals 15, and we would plug in a 0 for the x. Now it would say 6 times 0 plus 3 times y equals 15. And we know that 6 times 0 leaves us with 0, or something that we don't even have to write in the equation anymore. So this equation simplifies to 3 times y equals 15. We could divide both sides of the equation by 3, and if we divide both sides of the equation by 3, we're left with y equals 5. 5 is the number times by 3 that would make 15. So this equation is telling me if x is equal to 0, y has to have a value of 5. That is the first solution, or the first pair of x, y values that work in this equation. Next, we could plug in a 1 for x. We would take this equation, 6x plus 3y equals 15, and we would replace it, the x, with the value 1 this time. 6 times 1 is just going to equal 6, so we're left with the equation 6 plus 3y equals 15. And if we were to subtract 6 from both sides of our equation, that would eliminate the 6 from the left side of the equation, and it would bring us down to a new equation of 3y equals 9 after we do 15 minus 6. We would divide both sides by 3 if we don't know the answer yet. That would tell us y has to be equal to 3 when x is equal to 1. That's because 3 times 3 is what would give us 9. Now we know that if x is equal to 1, the solution in that case is x is 1 and y is 3. We would then follow this same process by plugging in an x or plugging in a y into our equation again and doing the work to figure out what the corresponding y needs to be, or if we plug the y in, what the corresponding x needs to be.